Welcome to the Lauren Blackwell channel.
I remember seeing a Kevin Spacey interview with Piers Morgan. I believe this was in 2024, where he talked about some of the struggles that he has had recently at the time. And, he talked about his legal issues, which I cannot talk about here because, YouTube is being very picky with what you can talk about when it comes to legal issues. So I cannot really go into detail, but it's not a difficult interview to find. If you want to find it, it's going to be on Piers Morgan's channel. But so he talked about the issues that he has had, and even though he technically overcame those issues, he had a lot of financial consequences that resulted from that. He talked about how he had some financial struggles that he did not have before, and it just seemed like he was in a very sad place. I believe he even cried on the interview, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously a lot of people were moved by that because a lot of people like Kevin Spacey. They like his movies, at least. I'm not talking about his personal life. I'm just talking about Kevin Spacey, the actor in the movies. A lot of people like and respect him. So when he did that interview, obviously a lot of people were going to be moved by it, right? And feel sorry. So I'm not sure why it took over a year for this news to start to go around that Kevin Spacey is homeless and not doing well, because he did that interview many months ago. But anyway, recently it's been going around that Kevin Spacey was homeless and he's dead broke and he's suffering and all of these things. And that is not funny, but the way that people made it sound super dramatic, I guess it got to Kevin Spacey, and it does not look good for an actor that has to maintain a certain caliber to have the rumor going around that they're suffering and they're dead broke and homeless and all of this, right? So obviously he did not really like that, and I think that the rumors made his circumstance worse than it truly is, and so he felt compelled to address it. Kevin Spacey did not even address all of the other nasty rumors that were going around about him, but he absolutely had to address this one because it does not make him look good at all. It's a very bad look. So anyway, you may have seen the clip already, but I'm still going to post it here just in case you haven't seen it. But he posted this video addressing all of the rumors, calling him homeless and broke.
Hi everyone. I don't usually make it my business to correct the media. If I did, I wouldn't have time for much else. But in light of the recent articles claiming I am homeless, I feel the need to respond. Not to the press, but to the thousands of people who have reached out over the past few days, offering me a place to stay, or have just asked if I'm okay. And to all of you, let me first say that I am truly touched by your generosity, full stop. But I feel it would be disingenuous of me to allow you to believe that I am indeed homeless in the colloquial sense. In my conversation with Mick Brown, the wonderful journalist who wrote the story that was in the Telegraph where this rumor first began, I said I was basically living in hotels and Airbnbs and going where the work is, just as I did when I first started out in this business. I've been working nearly non-stop this entire year, and for that I have so much to be grateful for. And there are many people, as we all know, who are indeed actually living on the streets or in their cars or in terrible financial situations, and my heart goes out to them. But it is clear from the article itself that I am not one of them, nor was I attempting to say that I was. Which is why it was a shame that the Telegraph chose to undermine the work of their own journalist by selling him out with a knowingly misleading headline for the sake of clicks. But I will now let you go back to your lives. Thank you for just paying attention for a few minutes, and for indulging me, and for all the kindness that you've shown me. Thank you. See you soon.
So basically, he's trying to let everybody know that he is not doing badly. He's been working all year, which is really good because a lot of actors are actually struggling. They're not getting as much work as they used to, and especially after they've had the kind of legal issues that Kevin Spacey has experienced, it is very difficult for them to make a comeback, but he is able to do so, and he's working consistently, and he's basically trying to let us know that, listen, there are real people out there that are truly poor and truly homeless, and they are the ones that need your help and support. And so while I thank you guys for offering your support and being concerned about me, I'm actually doing well. It is so funny that he had to come out and address this, but I kind of understand because it's quite disrespectful to think about it. If you're doing okay and people are sending you condolences because they think you're homeless and, you know, living outside or something, and yeah, it's understandable that he would be uncomfortable with that. But who is he really holding responsible? Who's to blame for this? Because nobody knew about his financial situation until he did that interview and talked about it himself. He brought it to the limelight. He was the one who talked about how much in debt he was and how much money he had to repay, and it is a significant amount of money. From what I have heard, he was asked to pay the producers of House of Cards about $30 million for breach of contract. Whether or not that is true, I am not 100% sure, but that's what I heard. $31 million is a lot of money, especially for actors. Even an actor that's worth, say, $200 million, $31 million is going to be a lot of money for them. So yeah, by the time he paid that, and there was also a lot of rumors saying that his net worth had dwindled by a significant amount, and people were turning their backs on him in Hollywood, so getting more roles was difficult. So when he did that interview and talked about it, that is why people started to say that he was homeless. However, homelessness for certain people look very different than for others. There are people that have very high net worth that do not have houses. They do not have houses of their own, and they do not sign leases either. They sort of do short-term stays from place to place depending on what they're working on or where they feel like staying, etc. Technically, you can qualify those people as homeless. After all, when a regular person is staying at a motel and that is their normal place of residence, do we not call them homeless? They call themselves homeless when they're staying in a motel and do not have a rental or a house of their own. So I guess in the same vein, you can say there's a lot of multimillionaires out there that are actually homeless, or they're houseless. They do not have their own place, but it's because they do not want to. Perhaps Kevin Spacey is in the same boat, because let's be honest, Kevin Spacey has more than enough to rent an apartment somewhere. He just chooses not to, perhaps to keep things a little less complicated, because, you know, having a house and an apartment tends to keep you at a certain location. It ties you down, and if he is doing all of this work, if he's accepting a lot of work to get back up financially after all the money that he had to spend after his lawsuit, then perhaps he's going to want to be as fluid as possible so that he can move around very easily for his work and not keep himself tied down to a particular geographic location and paying a lot of money for a place where he's not spending a lot of time. So it makes sense that he would choose to not have a place, but it's voluntary homelessness, I guess you can say. But yeah, Kevin Spacey came out to say, listen guys, I'm not that kind of homeless, okay? So everyone relax. There are other people that need help, and perhaps you should help those other people. That was funny. He never addressed anything, but he just had to address this. Anyway, that's all I have on Kevin Spacey addressing his homelessness allegations. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.